Europeans are increasingly putting their money where their mouth is when it comes to what they eat, with organic food on more and more menus. In 2024, Europe's organic food market was worth an estimated $57.5 billion. But by 2033, it's projected to more than double to just over $132 billion. Germany is Europe's largest market for organic food, with sales of nearly $19 billion in 2023, with it performing well in Denmark and in France too. And despite the rising cost of living, many consumers are willing to pay a premium. 22% of Germans and 28% of Italians said they would pay more for sustainably produced food. Well, sales at Europe's leading organic food company reached nearly $835 million last year. Ecotone says it's seeing a real change in customer behaviour. I spoke with its UK CEO, Bryan.
We're seeing a huge amount of growth in areas such as our rice cakes, our veggie cakes business. We're seeing a huge amount of growth in that. We're also seeing some growth in our plant-based milks as more and more people move away or supplement milk with their plant-based milks, which is great. And also in tea, we're seeing more and more consumers opt for fair trade and organic, which is great. So Clipper Teas is seeing another successful year, which is fantastic.
More broadly, there's a growth in organic food, isn't there? Not just for you, perhaps, for the industry more broadly. Is this, do you think, a move away from food using industrial farming techniques and perhaps concerns over that?
Yeah, we've seen that. More and more customers are telling us that they're concerned about where their food comes from, what's in their food. And as a result, more and more consumers are looking at ingredients lists, looking at what their food contains and are rejecting things that either have ingredients that they can't pronounce or they don't recognise. So that's great for the organic segment. That's great for a company like Ecotone, where, over 30 years, we've been pushing that mission to drive more sustainable and healthy eating habits.
These kind of products, though, organic food, does seem to be more expensive to buy. Are you surprised that people actually are prepared to pay more for it, even though budgets perhaps are being squeezed elsewhere?
Well, I think consumers are more educated in this area of food. So what they're seeing is when they're making a choice of organic, they know they're making a choice where chemical fertilizers aren't used in the farming of that product, which is better for their health, better for their planet. So they're seeing organic as good value for money. What trade-offs consumers are making, they're also realizing that, maybe you don't eat out, you can consume, make a healthy meal at home or make a meal at home, and obviously that's saving some money. So they're making trade-offs in other areas, moving away from maybe some large supermarkets to more discounter channels where you get obviously a better price. So consumers are making different trade-offs, but not compromising on the quality of their food, and that's to the benefit of our portfolio at the moment.
Something else which seems to be a growing trend amongst food buyers, the idea of food miles, the way our food is growing. One thing people are looking at, but how far it has to travel to get onto our plates. Do you think people will increasingly be prepared to pay more for locally grown produce?
Yeah, I think it's a balanced approach, isn't it? But I think we've seen that consumers more and more buying locally, farmers markets, etc. We can see that coming back over the last few years. So consumers are definitely making some of those choices. But there's also a more practical challenge that not all food can be made locally that consumers want. So, but we see that some consumers are making some of those choices. Yes.
And what other trends do you see emerging? You mentioned growth in plant-based in one of your products, but what other trends do you think the food industry will embrace going forward?
Well, we see, obviously, that move to more organic, natural, less processed food. That's a key trend. We're also seeing nutrition play a key role, particularly with the rise of things like GLP-1. That is obviously, has some significant side effects, and people are looking as a result for fibre. To help their digestive health, also protein to maintain muscle mass as well, because some of that obviously can have an impact. So we're seeing some definitely big trends in terms of nutrition, protein and fibre being significant growth drivers in the food industry at the moment across Europe.